Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to England and we've got a beer that's produced by two really quite good breweries. So for this one we're going to go down to Falmouth in Cornwall, which of course is home to Verdant Brewing Company, and this is a collaboration beer that they've done with Wylam, who of course are originally from Wylam to the north of Newcastle, but they are based in the city itself now. So this beer is called Who Unfollowed Me. It's a double IPA and it comes in at 8% ABV and it should be really good. This was another one that was recommended to me by the guys at Market Hall Wines in Durham, who really have a good little selection of craft beer going on these days. So if you are watching from Durham, make sure you go in. They get their deliveries every Thursday and usually the beers are on sale on the Saturday from what I gather. I'll put their Facebook page in the video description below. They're always like really helpful, so I do recommend you go and check them out if you get the chance. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Verdant and from Wylam. No doubt there will be some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to Verdant Brewing first then, to my brewery notes. So Verdant Brewing, as I've told you before, are based in Falmouth in Cornwall, and they were founded back in 2014 by Adam Robertson and James Heffron, who were later joined by Rich. So Adam was a designer by trade and James had been a home brewer for a number of years, while Rich was an electrician who actually helped build the brewery and then later joined the company as a partner. So they ordered their brewing equipment in 2014 and they started brewing their beers the following year in 2015. So apparently they brew 3 times per week, which gives them about 6,000 pints per week of capacity, and initially they struggled to get their beers recognised in Cornwall because of the traditional beer culture, but they proved a big hit in other parts of the country. But I do believe in Cornwall it is starting to get a little bit more kind of open to these things. There's also Harbour Brewing Company who are doing some really nice brewing stuff as well. I want to say that DIPA is maybe from Cornwall as well. There's quite a few of these more kind of American style craft breweries opening up in Cornwall. Of course you do have the traditional Cornish ales, which as I've mentioned in previous videos is something that I really need to get on top of when it comes to reviewing beer on the channel, because I've not really reviewed any of those actually, so that's something that you will hopefully see over the next little while. But Verdant Brewing Company, probably the best known craft brewery from the area at the moment, and like I say, they do some really nice stuff. They've been getting a lot of plaudits, and quite rightly so in my experience. I've done the review of the Bloom, and I think it was the Pulp as well. One of the beers that I really want to get a hold of to review is the Putty, so hopefully I can review Putty for you at some point in the future. But a very good brewery and one that you definitely need to check out. So anyway, on to Wylam Brewery then. So Wylam, as I've told you before, was founded by John Boyle and Robin Layton in the small village of Wylam to the north of Newcastle back in the year 2000. So these guys have been around quite a wee while actually, but both men had taken early retirement, and John had been a computer engineer and he met Rob, who'd been a former sea captain but was also an avid home brewer. So John fixed Rob's PC, which took a long time, and apparently Robin and John agreed a payment of 5 gallons of the Vice beer that they'd been drinking for actually fixing this thing. But Robin was really interested in barley wine stouts and sours, which really weren't popular at the time, and both he and John wanted to see these beers reintroduced into their local pubs. But they produced the first beer, which was Landlord's Choice, back in August 2000, and it became like very popular in the local area simply because of word of mouth. But they moved premises to Headon on Wall in 2006, and in 2016 they moved once again to a new site at the Palace of Art in Exhibition Park, which has a 30-barrel brew house, and there's also a brewery tap and restaurant there, which is one that I really want to go and check out at some point because I've just never had the chance. But I've been having some really nice IPAs and double IPAs and things like that from Wylam recently. Their core range as well, the Jakehead and the Hexen and stuff like that, is really interesting too. Basically Wylam are a very solid brewery, and they are starting to experiment a little bit more in recent times since they've got this new brewery as well. A lot of their canned beers do tend to be very good, and like I say, the Jakehead and the double Jakehead and stuff are very solid as well. So if you're looking for a good brewery from the northeast of England, Wylam are one. There's also the Almesty Brewery, there's Errant, there's quite a few other breweries from the northeast of England that are doing some really nice stuff, so I do recommend that you check them out. But yeah, really interesting breweries, both of these guys. Check out their Facebook pages in the description below, check out their websites as well if you want to learn more about them. But let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So yeah, like I told you at the start, the Who Unfollowed Me It's a double IPA, comes in at 8%. The hops in this one, it's Mosaic, Amarillo, Equinox and Centennial, a really nice mix there. And the malt base is Extra Pale Ale, Golden Promise, Carapils, Oats and Flaked Wheat. And the yeast strain in this one, is London Ale 3. And it says, drink fresh, hops fade fast and vegan friendly as well. So yeah, nicely presented this one. This one is one that is actually brewed at Verdant, as you can tell from the slightly different artwork compared to the other Wylams that I've had in the cans recently. But yeah, really nice looking beer, this one, and I'm sure with both of these breweries involved it will be pretty damn good. So yeah, let's get it out and get on with the tasting without any further ado. Really looking forward to this one. And once again, thank you to the guys at Market Hall Wines in Durham for the recommendation. And I'll tell you something, as soon as you open that up, the oranges, the Amarillo and the tangerines from the Mosaic really jump out in this one, and you can smell a little bit of that blueberry from the Mosaic as well, which is really kind of interesting. And a little bit of the lemon limey notes that you'll get from Centennial and an Equinox as well. You can smell the juiciness of the fruit in this beer right away. But look at that lovely bright yellow colour, definitely hazy. If I put my fingers behind that glass, you know, you can see it's completely opaque. That could just be pineapple juice or something, you'd never know apart from the head of the beer. But yeah, there's a solid finger of a frothy, I would say slightly creamy coloured head on that one. It's not quite perfect white, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But like I'm saying, as you're moving this beer around, you really can smell those lovely fruity esters coming off it. It's a lovely smelling beer. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Yeah, so with this one, definitely oranges. I mean, the Amarillo gives you that lovely oily orange quality to it, and you can really pick that up in the beer. You can smell a little bit of the juiciness of the tangerine notes that you'll get from the Mosaic as well. Yeah, the oranges really are kind of underpinning this one. There's a little bit of a kind of limey note which I'm finding that comes out from the Equinox, and you can smell a little bit of the more sharp lemon, which I've always found is Centennial. Equinox gives you some lovely limey notes. The Equinox is becoming a really popular hop these days, with good reason in my opinion. And the Centennial is one that's been around for a while, but I think for a while Centennial has kind of been underestimated. It's got a really lovely lemony quality to it, and I think, you know, if you put it together with Equinox, it does. If you love lemon lime flavours, you know, you can produce some really lovely IPAs with that, I think. And you can smell there's just a whole host of things going on in this one. It's got a little bit of a kind of mango-y papaya type thing, probably more papaya to be honest than mango, but oranges, blueberries, sort of lemon limes. There's a bit of pineapple I think in there as well, which is another quality of the Mosaic. But it just smells like a big kind of juicy fruit bowl, this beer basically. Yeah, definitely say that about it, just a big juicy fruit bowl essentially. So yeah, nice oaty sweetness. When you sugar it up, you do start to get that kind of oaty sweetness out of it. There's a little bit of a biscuit out there, which I think will be from the Golden Promise, to be honest. What were the other ones in it? Golden Promise and Extra Pale. Probably the Carapils is giving you a little bit of that kind of biscuity note, I would say. But yeah, the oaty smoothness really comes out in this one. You can smell a bit of that kind of wheaty, white bready quality to this beer. But the oats are coming out in the aroma of this one really nicely. They're kind of, I think they're forming the kind of main linchpin of the base, if you like. There's a little bit of grassiness to this beer. In terms of the hoppiness, the sort of grassy floral things, this one definitely leans a little bit more towards the lighter kind of grassy side of things rather than the sort of spicy kind of floral notes. But it smells like a really nice beer, this one. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of it before you get stuck in. But it smells like it's going to be a cracker. So let's have a taste of this beer then. This one is the Who Unfollowed Me, a collaboration between Verdant Brewing Company in Falmouth and Cornwall and Wylam Brewery from Newcastle, originally from Wylam in the northeast of England in Northumberland. So let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skull. Oh yeah. That is pretty damn nice. It's a lovely beer, that. I mean, I'm saying it like I'm surprised. I'm not, you know, both of these breweries are capable of producing beers like this. The first thought that comes out to me with this one It's just how nice the oaty flavours are in it. It's just the malt base. It's that smooth, it almost has a little bit of an oily quality to it. You can feel the wheaty bready characters, that just blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you're getting a nice little bit of an oaty sweetness in there, and if you go right down the middle line of your tongue, I think there's just a little bit of biscuit in there, but that's very minimal. It definitely leans towards the oaty side of things, and I do like that actually. Yeah, that's a really nice beer. If you get the chance to try this one, have a go at it. I'm not sure how limited it is, but they've done a great job with that. And I mean, that's one of the things. Verdant Brewing Company, you know, it's brewed at their place, and Wylam, of course, as well. They've got base recipes that they have for these New England IPAs. And they just play around with them a little bit. They might change a little bit of the malt, they might use a slightly different hop or something like that just to change the flavour profile, but who cares, they're producing good beers and they all do taste different. That's one of the brilliant things about brewing. You've got this kind of central process that you can just play with ever so slightly and you get something that does taste really quite different. That's what I love about brewing. But yeah, it's a cracking beer, that. You know, have a go at it and just see what you think. It really is lovely. So in terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, the malt base is really quite simple, I would say, but it works very, very well. The smoothness of it, I say, the white bready character, a little bit of oaty sweetness and a bit of biscuity quality as well. And the oats really start to push their way out a little bit more as the palate just kind of mellows out, if you like, if you can say that. Back corners of the palate, the little touch of earthiness, I think that's the mosaic coming out there. Centennial, I guess, can give you a little bit of that as well, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, there is a little bit of a slightly spicy, peppery, floral aromaticity. If I remember right, out of the hops in this beer, it would be mainly Centennial that would give you that. Centennial has that nice lemony quality, but it's also got a little bit of spice to it as well. And then around the very front curve of the palate, you've got a little bit of that lighter kind of grassy note there, but the fun of course begins just behind that front curve of the tongue, and that's where you get the little oily bubble where all of these nice juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And there's a lot going on in this one, I'll say that. So yeah, what I would say about this one is the oranges aren't quite as prominent in the flavour initially as you would think from the aroma. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a, there's definitely a little bit of that kind of, I would say, the lemon, the sort of lemony limey quality comes out of this one really nice. The pineapples from the mosaic are sitting there as well. It does lean a little bit more towards the tropical side initially, but then you start to get the other things. So I would say the oranges, the juiciness of the oranges comes out just a little bit later than you're expecting. There's a sort of papaya, almost apricot-y flavour to this beer as well. For me, it starts off with that, and then it evolves into a more kind of juicy, slightly oily orange and tangerine. The tangerines, like I say, come from the mosaic. And then you get a bit of the blueberry in the aftertaste. You're definitely getting blueberry and a little bit of that kind of papaya thing there. Some of the lime from the equinox is kind of lying in it as well, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that, because just the way the fruit is mixed is really interesting. Again, this is one of the other really interesting things about brewing. Hops come out in different ways depending on how you mix them. But yeah, definitely, as I say, it starts off with a little bit of that kind of almost, it's not quite mango-y, I think it's more papaya, kind of pineapple-y flavours from the mosaic. The orange you've seen how long it was since I took a sip, that's the orange starting to come out now, a little bit of the tangerine. And then, I think maybe even a bit of the lime is sitting in there as well, and some of the, I'm not quite sure about the lemony quality, I think that's coming out a little bit later, but then you're starting to get the likes of the blueberry notes from the mosaic as well. As I say, I've been noticing recently, mosaic really does give you this kind of blueberry flavour. It's almost like with mosaic, I've had a bit of an epiphany. I was drinking the beer, I think it was with my dad actually, and he said, that tastes like blueberries. And I was like, yeah, you know, it's just one of these things. I always kind of had it down as a sort of tangerine note, but then it is a mix of tangerines and blueberries, I think, that you get from mosaic. It's always interesting. You're always learning with beers, which is the wonderful thing. But yeah, as I say, I think papaya and sort of apricot-y flavours to start off with. It morphs into the more kind of oily orange, slightly tangerine. There's a little bit of the limey quality in there. As you go on through it, you get a little bit of the pineapple coming out as well, like I was saying. And then you get you get a little bit of the kind of lemony quality in the end of this one too, which is really nice. There's a lot of stuff going on in this beer. There's almost that papaya apricot-y flavour as well. But the main thing to take away is that it's a lovely, lovely beer, and you'll certainly enjoy this one if you get the chance to try it. So seek it out and have a go at it, because it's really bloody good. You can't really say much more about this than that. It's got a lovely aroma to it, one of the best aromas I've had of one of these New England IPAs in a wee while actually, and then all of the different fruit qualities. It's got a really nice fruit complexity to it, so it will keep you on your toes in that regard. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this one is probably mid-bodied. Yeah, I think mid-bodied. Carbonation is really quite smooth in this one. I would say mouthfeel is a mix between slightly oily and quite smooth. A good bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. A little bit of juicy fruit, I would say. Well, a lot of juicy fruit, I would say, yeah. A good bit of hoppy bitterness, nice juicy fruit, and the malt base is really smooth in this one. It just has a little touch of sweetness. The malt base for me is the really kind of unique point of this beer, along with that fruity complexity, of course. But it's just done very, very well. You know, you wouldn't expect anything less from either of these brews. They've just done a bloody good job, and I think that's a good way to sum up this beer. It's a really, really solid New England IPA. One of my favourite ones I've tried, actually, and I can see why Mike from Durham Wines was really keen for me to have a go at this beer. It really is very, very nice. So if you get the chance to try this one, I really recommend that you have a go at it. It's one of my favourite ones that I've tried in a little while. So yeah, I think that's a good way to sign off on this review then. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer. Let me know your favourite beers from both Verdant and from Wylam as well, and I'll see if I can review those for you if I haven't already. But once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out all my social media and things. Support your local craft breweries, and of course do give me some beer recommendations that I can check out. Like I say, I do want to review some more kind of traditional Cornish ales in the next little while, but I will catch you guys very soon, and there will be more from Verdant and from Wylam very soon too. Until the next time, Slans just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Who Unfollowed Me double IPA from Verdant Brewing Company in Falmouth in Cornwall, and Wylam Brewery in Wylam, originally from Wylam, just to the north of Newcastle in England. I'll catch you guys very soon. Slanging just now. Skull. Lovely double IPA.